Good morning and welcome back to the Homeschool Library. Wanted to do a short video this morning. I guess you could consider it jumping on the bandwagon for all the booktubers out there that are taking this last week or so and delivering their plans for the upcoming year in 2026. This is my first upcoming new year as a booktuber. So I thought I'd go ahead and maybe do that as well. I've got several ideas, things that I would like to do. Number one is obviously, like everyone else, I'd like to grow my channel. I've been at this for a little over a month now, maybe coming up on to two. I'm probably closer to two. And it's I've I've struggled to keep a dozen subscribers. Um, I don't play with the algorithms at all. I don't know about that kind of stuff. Honestly, I'm not sure that I really care. Uh, I'm doing this because it's something that I want to do. It seems like fun. I love being a part of this community. I'd like to be, obviously, like anyone, I'd like to reach more people, find anyone who is interested in the things that I'm interested in. Um, I'm thinking about maybe a name change in the coming year, just changing the name of the channel. The content's going to be the same. The focus is on the homeschool library and building the most culturally significant homeschool library in existence. I stated that goal in my very first video, and that's going to continue. But I'm not sure if maybe the name for this channel is maybe not quite in line with some of the content that people are seeing. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that there. I certainly don't want to change a name and alienate the subscribers that have stuck with me, all dozen of you. 14 actually, as of yesterday. So that's pretty awesome. I don't want to alienate you folks by changing the name at all of something that you've clearly continued to enjoy. But I want to make sure that any potential new coming subscribers, you're getting what you expect to get from the content that I'm delivering based on the channel name. It's something that's going to bear some thinking on throughout the end of the year. So if I do anything along the lines of that, it probably won't be until at least around Christmas or probably just January 1st. Let me know what you think in that regard. I'm curious. My loyal viewers, if you've got any thoughts in that regard. The second thing that I'd like to do is a very specific goal that I have in building our library here is we do have several book series, both fiction and nonfiction, educational and just popular pop culture kind of stuff. Series like many of you there's holes in the series. And I'd like to plug those holes. I did a video a while back, The Misadventures of a Completist, where I showed you I had finally completed the Matt Helm series, which I'm very proud about. I've got a couple of other series that have been completed that I would need to make videos of, and some that I'm very close to finishing up. So before I really get into too much new stuff, I'd like to plug the holes in those series, and of course return to that video, the completist videos. I thought I had a good time making that one. I had some good positive feedback on that as well, so probably go back to doing more of those, as well as just I need the cure for my completism. It's a disease that I know I'm not alone in sharing with many of you, so I'm sure you'll understand. A third thing that I've been thinking about, actually, since even prior to starting this channel, is amongst the many homeschool curriculums and programs that you'll find out there, One that we don't utilize here specifically, but I really appreciate and admire what they do. Memoria Press is one. Rob Prine has a YouTube channel where he's talked about them quite often. I stumbled onto his channel not long after I discovered Memoria Press on my own, and I really like what they do. And one of the things that they have published online on their website is they have a very extensive list of essential books for boys and essential books for girls. And in perusing these lists, I agree, I think, with probably 90 some percent of it. If I were to make a list on my own for essential books for both girls and boys, most of what is on those lists is what I would have included on mine. There are several others that I don't think I was necessarily familiar with, especially some of the more juvenile, like grade school type stuff, which is exactly where my children are at currently in their education. So that's something that I'd like to build here is, and I've already kind of started going through and making a curriculum, if you will. Maybe that's not the appropriate word, but getting a specific library of what we feel are the essential books for young girls and young boys, and not just young, but from grade school, first early reading level, all the way through college and adulthood. Many of the books on those lists I'm familiar with, both girls and boys, that I know that I read and enjoyed even in my younger days and continue to. So I think that'll be a fun project that I'd like to start working on in the new year. In January, I will be, as per my video yesterday, in January, I will be starting on the very first reading event of the year. I had not originally intended on participating in any BookTube events over the winter, at least, but January came up, Haggard January, celebrating the works of Robert E. Howard and books that are inspired by Did I say Robert E. Howard again? That's a bad habit. H. Rider Haggard. Those names are much more similar than I ever realized. H. Rider Haggard. Not Robert E. Howard, who I also love, but has his own reading event. So in January, we're talking about Haggard, author of She and King Solomon's Mines and Knot of the Lily and Belshazzar and so many great Lost World adventure, historical fiction that I'm super excited to get back into reading those again. So that'll be a lot of fun. I was already excited for June on the Range, which I missed last summer. I started with BookTube a little late for that one. I started off right at the end of Cimmerian September, back to the Robert E. Howard reference, not H. Rider Haggard. So I'm very much looking forward to that one, but I think only a slightly less level of anticipation is starting in January with Haggard January. That's going to be a lot of fun, very much tailor-made for me, if you know some of my reading history. So that's going to be good. I know, obviously, I will be participating in a few of the others down the line. I don't know what's all coming up throughout the course of the year. This is going to be my first full year on BookTube. So it remains to be seen what I may or may not be jumping into. But that's going to be a great start to the year. In May, I think it's May, maybe March. I don't remember. I signed up for a group read. We're going to be reading Rob Roy by Sir Walter Scott. That is, I can't remember who all is involved in that. I think Ghost Readers in the Sky. He's the one that officially invited me to that. I kind of invited myself. I thought, hey, this sounds like fun. How do I get in on this? So the group which read Ivanhoe last year wants to continue with the group read, and this year we are going to be doing Rob Roy, which will be fun. I've read Ivanhoe, but I have not yet read Rob Roy, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And going throughout the year, the biggest thing I think that I want to do in just building the homeschool library here is adding quality, not quantity, which, yeah, might fly in the face of my earlier statement that I want to keep plugging the holes in those series that I'm missing parts of. But I would consider that quality. I can look at something and say that's the whole thing. I'm not missing anything there. I want to be adding that quality to all levels of education, which brings me back to the essential books for girls and boys, things that are building our culture, things that have built culture, things that I want them to be able to file away in their lives, whether that be just little books about trucks or doll collecting, how to take care of your baby, to things like Tarzan, Anne of Green Gables, and beyond. Those are very important, and both of my kids are absolutely loving reading right now. Just last night, we were going through our Advent calendar and reading some scripture and listening to my 8-year-old son read biblical messianic prophecy from the Old Testament in Isaiah and Malachi. And he was asking the questions, and we were discussing that. That was a joy to me, both as a dad, as an educator, and I really can't even describe the joy in that. And just listening to my son process what he was reading and putting that in the context of his life. And then my daughter, my 5-year-old daughter, she's reading very well. She's so excited to read. She wanted to get in that as well. She wanted to read some of the stuff that he was reading. And my son said, "No, it takes you too long to sound out all the words. We'll be here forever." So she was very patient. She listened, asked questions as well, as we just gathered together as family and did that. And that, to me, is what reading in general is all about. Bringing the family together, getting the information, getting the joy of just the culture of learning is so important for us, which is why this channel is called the Homeschool Library. It's everything, not just math and science and history, but across culture, across the board. That's what we're wanting to do. So that I may have answered my question about renaming the channel right there. Still, I'd love to hear your thoughts in that regard. Personally, something that I would like to do over the course of this next year, is to add more and read more ancient and medieval literature. I just finished reading Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince this morning, and that reminded me how much of a love that I have for that. I'm starting on Thomas More's Utopia this evening, maybe tomorrow morning, depending. I've got a busy day today, so I may not have much time for any further reading. But that's next on my schedule for my own personal reading. I've got a wish list about 3 miles long on both on paper and Amazon, and a significant chunk of that is some of that more ancient and medieval literature, the ancient historians, philosophers. that I'm looking forward to adding that back to my repertoire. Some that I have read in the past, and some that I'm missing that I never have. So that, I think, if that's not enough goals for the coming year, I'll probably add more as we go throughout. But that's what I got off the top of my head. I hope you continue to follow along throughout 2026. I wish all of you a very blessed and wonderful remainder of your holiday season as we go into the new year. And I'll keep seeing you around. See you next time. Right out.